Hey guys, welcome to another episode. Well, I kind of stumbled over my words there. Of the Life in General podcast. My name is Nick.
And I am Ian.
You are Ian. What's going on, man?
Nothing.
Hey, real quick, did you see that I think it was the Senate passed, this has nothing to do with what we were supposed to talk about today.
The daylight savings time?
The daylight savings time thing.
Yeah.
Like, what do you feel about it? Like,
I mean, I don't give a shit, to be quite honest with you. It's been a long time coming. I never really understood the point of keeping it. But what bothers me is
people are like really pissed off about it, though.
It makes no difference to me, really. But what bothers me is the fact that you can get all of those fucking senators to agree on daylight savings time, but nothing about starving children or fucking anything that's of real value to the world.
Yeah, someone did bring that up on social media.
Yeah.
They were like, "Hey, it's nice to see that," because it was the Republicans that.
It was Marco Rubio who championed the bill.
Yeah, he sponsored the bill, but so what they want to do is they want to make daylight savings time permanent.
Right.
And apparently there's a lot of people that are really pissed off because they want it to revert to standard time.
Right.
Which, so then this is what the reasoning I have read is. So if they go back to standard time, it will be light earlier in the morning in the summertime.
Right.
But it'll get darker sooner in the summertime.
Right.
Which I would prefer it be lighter later in the summer.
I think most people should. I mean, yeah.
Because, it just gives you more time to enjoy the day and things like that.
Well, for people who work, don't necessarily get the time off or work different shifts, who might have to cut the grass at 6 or 7 o'clock at night.
Exactly.
It does make the most sense. Because, in the summertime, do it for whatever's going to benefit the summertime, because that's when it'll make the difference.
So what people were saying, I saw multiple people on social media land say this, that, well, they need to think about the children, because we can't have daylight savings time in the summer because it will be dark earlier in the morning and children will be more vulnerable to
boogeymen,
kidnappers, and
are you fucking kidding me?
I'm dead fucking serious. I'm like, have we not? I was like, is this 1984 all over again? Like, what the? Wait. Instances of child abduction are so fucking rare,
right?
And something like 80 or 90% of the cases are family members that abduct the children, not some creeper driving on the street.
We practically live. I mean, it's funny you mentioned 1984. I mean, we practically live in Big Brother state anyway.
Oh, pretty much.
Everything's on camera. Kids are safer now than they've ever fucking been. Yeah. Not to say that they're 100% safe by any means.
Because nothing is ever.
No. And there's a lot of creepy people out there, but come on. We were standing at our bus stops in the fucking dark all the time.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I know that. But I was like, really? That's the fucking argument against it?
Right.
Is how dare you change this and endanger our children? I'm like, I guarantee most of you probably drive your fucking kids to school anyway.
Right. And they just don't want to be feeling like they're getting up in the dark.
Yeah. Which, so what? So it stays fucking dark till 9 o'clock in the fucking morning in the wintertime. Who gives a shit?
Right.
I
don't. It makes no difference to me.
It doesn't make any difference to me because I'm normally sleeping at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So.
And I'm actually just going to bed at 9 o'clock, so it's actually kind of good for me in that respect.
Yeah, that's true.
So I can actually go to sleep when it's semi-dark anyway.
Semi-dark. Yeah,
but
that's...
I could give two shits about it. It really doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form.
But you're right, though. It's funny that this is what brings the two sides together.
Right.
They can't
stupid.
They can't help anything else in this country. They can't help
because there was 5 people who voted against it. That was it.
Yeah.
It was some really low fucking number.
But now,
now you ask them to say, "Oh, let's make sure that healthcare is free for everybody." Fuck no, we can't agree on that.
That's socialism,
right?
We're going to control the time.
Right. Child Care Acts? What the fuck is that? Let's talk about daylight savings.
Yes, the real culprit.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The real danger in this country.
Right.
Yeah, so it's got to go back to the House, and we'll see what happens with it. But I hope it passes. I've said it for a long time that they
need to get rid of it. Yeah, in either direction. I don't give a shit which direction, but it's just
I prefer for them to make daylight savings time permanent.
Yeah, it seems to make the most sense. Like I said, to benefit the summertime because
it was originally put in place to help farmers,
right? And that's what I mean. It's archaic at this point. It doesn't There's no social need for the switching back and forth.
Yeah.
So just make one of them regular and permanent, and just be done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm cool with it.
It's not like, it's not like leap year where if you get a leap year, eventually we're gonna have like summer in the middle of December.
Right, exactly. I mean, it'd take a couple hundred years for that to happen, but
probably longer than that. But
there could be a slight offsetting of the time schedule a little bit with the daylight savings time too, I think, but
not really.
Yeah, I don't know. I always remember them saying something about that.
Because really, you flip back and forth twice in the same year, so it really shouldn't have any.
But not switching back. You're pushing that hour more. I don't know. It was something.
I don't know because
but it's it would take like 500 years for it to fucking matter.
Because it's not like it shouldn't make any difference. Because like I said, in the spring you're putting your clock an hour forward. In the fall, you're putting an hour back. There is no like.
Well, and to be completely honest, as far as on a universal scale, time is very like contrived.
Time is almost a.
The measurement of time is just contrived, is what I'm saying.
Yes, absolutely, yes. Now I get what you mean.
Yeah, but.
So what else is going on, man? I see gas prices are starting to come down a little bit.
That's what I've been keeping my gas tank pretty close to full. So it's been about 5 days since I put gas in.
But gas, like at least around me, is down almost 15 cents a gallon.
Oh. So that's good because the most I've done is $4.30. That's the most I've had to pay.
$4.25 is the most I've paid.
Yeah, I did I should say $4.29 is what I did. But
and if I really want to, I can drive into Ohio and pay 10 cents cheaper a gallon.
Because their taxes are a little lower.
Which they're talking about suspending the sales tax in Michigan. We'll see what happens.
Well, it's funny because I went into Meijer's gas station the other day.
Multiple Meijer?
No, like Meijer's, as in I'm at Nick's house, as in the possessive.
Okay.
And
just one of my pet peeves.
Do you go to Kroger gas station or the Kroger's gas station? Kroger's gas station. It's Kroger's gas station.
No, I would say Kroger.
Whatever. All I did was I added the S for possessive.
I would not possess, not make it a possessive, but
okay, but go ahead. Anyway, and lady at the counter was bitching about the gas prices, and so was the lady behind the counter, and she even brought up about the tax. She goes, "What's that going to change? 15 cents?" I'm like, "Well, for some people, 15 cents might make a bit of a difference." Yeah. I was thinking this, but also the government was talking about the federal tax on it too,
which that'll lower it by like 27 cents.
Right. So add that together, that's 40 some cents a gallon. Yeah. That's a bit of a difference.
Yeah. You know what would make a really big difference?
If we got off gas altogether?
No. Well, before. I mean, yes, but what would make it even like there are like hundreds of unused licenses in the United States. Right. Oil companies just aren't drilling.
No, because it's not it wasn't profitable enough to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. It will be. I mean, once everything stabilizes, they'll probably start drilling a little bit just to get some of that higher barrel price while it's there.
I'll say that I'm glad to see the Democrats being somewhat on the offensive about gas prices, though.
Yeah, it's not making any difference.
No. But so there's a big thing on Instagram, and normally, like, I have my Instagram pretty tailored to be, not political. It's basically all just like music.
That's my Instagram there's no politics on it at all.
I think the only thing political on there is I follow the Democrats on there, and which is funny because the two things I'm going to talk about that I found off of Instagram are both very political. But one thing was something that somebody else posted, and then I'm going to talk. So the Democrats laid out. It's called 7 Things to Know About Rising Gas Prices because they're trying to combat the narrative out there that the president has a say in what gas prices are.
Right, which he doesn't.
No. So I was going to kind of go through these, and I agree with all these. It says that gas prices has a lot to do with Vladimir Putin. It says Russia is one of the 3 largest oil producers in the world, and Putin's decision to invade Ukraine disrupted the oil market that was already unsettled by the pandemic. Because that's the thing that people aren't talking about is, yes, the pandemic, everything was on lockdown, everything was suppressed, people weren't going anywhere, so demand, dropped,
right?
Like it never has before. And also, so there was less demand, so of course they're not producing, as much. And with the lockdowns and everything, they weren't allowed to produce like they had been doing. So now in this, I'll go through and read the rest of this. But it says, because I'll touch on the rest of it here in a second. But it says, because Putin decided to invade a foreign country, and Russia is such a big oil producer, the global oil markets are disturbed, and gas prices are going up. President Biden enacted the Russian oil import ban to clarify that America will not be part of subsidizing Putin's war. So, like I said, we're buying, and we didn't buy, I think only 5% of our oil actually came from Russia anyway.
Very small percentage, yeah.
So I understand what they're trying to say there, because it is, but the war, yes, it is causing, because that's the thing you have to remember, is oil is a global commodity.
Right.
So even though we are only getting 5% of our oil technically from Russia, what happens with a big oil producer like Russia has ripple effects throughout the market.
Right. Because it's not even about necessarily supply and demand or the actual supply in general. It's the stock market's affected by like the emotional set of a war. War breaks out anywhere. The market's going to adjust because it's going to be predicting losses and gains, and it's going to affect it, even though there's not any real tangible reason why it's affecting it. It just does affect it.
Yeah. The next one says, President Biden doesn't control gas prices, which is the thing I've always been said. I've been saying for a long time. It says the price of gas is determined by a number of factors, including the price of crude oil, global supply and demand, and local taxes, which, Michigan's talking about suspending theirs. When gas prices rise, it's the result of global chain reactions. The Biden-Harris administration can approve permits for domestic production, which Biden has.
Yep.
And release barrels from U.S. oil reserves, which Biden has already done. And then it says,
could have done more, but he did.
Yeah. President Biden is doing everything he can to bring down the price of gas for the American people, which I don't see anything else that they can do
short of letting out more of the reserves. But there's a danger in doing that too.
Yeah, because the danger is if like all out war breaks out,
we're going to need that.
We're going to need oil.
Yeah. Well, it's not if, it's when.
I mean, it's not a certainty.
Guarantee, but
it will probably eventually.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about, and I've seen a lot of people post this, he shut down a pipeline. He shut down the pipeline.
No, he didn't.
And Keystone XL pipeline. Do you know what the XL was just an extension.
Right.
Like the Keystone pipeline is still pumping
gas. And it's not even gas to us.
It's not even, it's not pumping gas. It's pumping tar sands
oil. Can't even be used for
and it's
gas
Canadian tar sands oil. So it's a Canadian oil product from Canada.
Going to South America.
That they wanted to pipe through the United States to the Gulf of Mexico to ship elsewhere. And tar sands oil is very little of it's used for gasoline. Most of it's used for plastics.
Right.
So the Keystone XL pipeline has absolutely fucking nothing to do with the price of gasoline, because it's still going. They're still pumping it.
Right.
They're just pumping it a different route.
Right. And it seems to me like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but over the last 20, 25 years, there's this weird artificial, because it's one-sided, but this kinship with Native Americans with the conservative people. You see it in like,
really?
Yeah. Well, at least with the hunting side of it. Like,
well, I can see that.
Remember when Gibraltar was in Gibraltar Trade Center, which was like a flea market.
Yeah, if you guys aren't from the Michigan or
southeastern Michigan, you won't know. But it was a flea market.
It was a big flea market.
It was a weekend flea market, and it catered mostly to, we'll say, lower income white people.
I don't know. I don't know about the white part of it. I think there was a lot of.
I mean, granted, I'm thinking back to the early days when I was a kid. But even later on, you go there and I would
say lower income, but I wouldn't say necessarily white people.
Well, it seemed a lot of white people to me, because it was in Taylor, and Taylor is very, we'll say, I'm trying not to use the word white trash, but let's face it, it is.
Well, they called it Taylor Tucky for a reason.
Right. So if you go there, you would know, I don't know if you notice this, but there's a huge amount of like, T-shirts with wolves on them, and
there's
there's always these white people selling like dream catchers and shit like that.
Yes,
so there's
Native American emblems.
Yeah, and weird, this weird, like, I don't know what kind of, where it comes from, or
it's called cultural appropriation.
I know it is, but there was a weird kinship with that, and on one side, the Native Americans, I'm sure, don't feel it, but
Yeah.
White trash people do. It's like, everything's wolves and bears and, I don't know.
I think it's a very like naturey kind of thing. I don't think and I wouldn't say white trash either, but
the people that I've seen wearing that stuff and brandishing that stuff are white trash. I'm probably generalizing.
Oh, you're absolutely 100% generalizing, because I know people that I wouldn't classify as white trash that do have some of that stuff.
But still, yet when it comes to Native American lands,
I would say that
they're okay
I will say the people that I know that are into that kind of stuff are more into like hunting and like the nature kind of stuff.
Right.
But
my point is that these are the same people who are like, drill baby drill. And the extension for the XL, the pipeline was to go through Native American lands that were theirs.
Yeah.
So my point is the hypocrisy in that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I was going with it. I didn't have to take that long, but
everything on the Life in Journal podcast goes that long, though.
Yeah. It strikes me as odd that
No, I get where you're going.
I don't think anyone can deny on either side of the political spectrum. Well, most people on either side, we'll say, I guess maybe more in the middle, but can deny that Native Americans have had a shit fucking time because
I don't think there's anyone that can deny that.
Right. I mean, well, people do.
No, there's also people that think the Holocaust didn't exist.
Right.
So,
but my point is
there's always fucking batshit crazy people.
My point is that when that all was going down, it seems to me like one side seemed to be on the side of the white colonizing oil company, rather than the side of the Native Americans that everyone's, universally should be on the side of.
Yeah. No, I get it.
That was all I was trying to say.
But so I was going on to the next point, and this was something I was going to talk about a couple bullet points ago. But it says the COVID pandemic disrupted global supply and demand, which it absolutely 100% did. It says that as people stayed home during the pandemic, demand for gas significantly decreased and prices for crude oil plummeted. As a result, oil producers moved to reduce output, which, absolutely, why spend the money when there wasn't the demand for it?
Right.
Now, with more people back on the roads, there's been a spike in demand that thus far has outpaced production. Demand for gas is approaching pre-pandemic levels, while the production of gas hasn't caught up yet.
Right.
So that's what we're doing. We're playing this catch-up game from everything being closed down for, large parts of a year.
Right.
And we just haven't gotten to the point where we're back to producing oil. It says oil companies are profiting from high prices. Last time oil was at $96 a barrel. Gas was $3.62 a gallon. Now it's $4.31 at the same price.
Okay.
You can't tell me that inflation is making up that, 90 cents a gallon.
It's not.
It's not.
No.
Oil companies stand to profit from wartime prices and should instead increase production, which could help lower prices to American consumers. Right now, there are over 9,000, so I was way far off, 9,000 approved unused permits that oil and gas companies could tap into to ramp up production. Oil prices are decreasing and gas prices should be too. President Biden is applying pressure to prevent oil and gas companies from continuing to pad the profits at the expense of hardworking Americans, which that's been the biggest thing. And it's not just gas companies that are doing that.
Right.
It's your food companies that are doing that too. Right. Oh, well, there's
first sign of inflation, they just shoot their prices up regardless of the real market. There's no market adjustment there. They're just raising their prices.
They're just arbitrarily raising prices, and they're arbitrarily raising prices at the same time that all their competitors are raising prices at the same fucking time,
right?
At the same amount,
yeah.
And you can't tell me there's not collusion going on.
Oh, of course. Well, what is it like? I forgot what the percentage was, but like one company owns shares in every other company in the world, so it all ends up going to the same place anyway.
Yeah.
There is no competition, in a realistic way.
No, there really isn't. But I just thought it was really interesting that the Democratic Party put out just a long several pages
Yeah,
of
but
information. But no,
doing that on their own Instagram page when you've got people just putting stickers of Biden on gas pumps saying I did this.
yeah, that's
That's what people are going to see.
That's
It
just a
doesn't-
sign of stupidity.
Of course, but that's what people see, and it's stupid people seeing it.
I know.
You know.
But
I even posted on someone's Facebook page because they were bitching about Biden doing the gas, causing the gas prices, and all I said was, Biden is not responsible for the gas prices. He can't change the gas prices any more than Trump could.
no.
And they would be exactly the same right now if Trump was in office and the same situation was going on.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have the same people bitching about it.
No,
Like,
that'd be the only difference is who they're blaming.
yeah, they would blame Putin for it, which is who's
No, they
largely
probably
to blame.
wouldn't. Republicans fucking, well, not all of them, but a lot of them fucking love Putin right now.
Lindsey Graham does not love
No,
Putin.
it's pretty bad when fucking Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham are the reasonable ones in the fucking party.
Lindsey Graham has been openly calling for someone to assassinate
Him, yeah.
which probably isn't a great
Not
thing.
a great thing, but,
I understand
like I
it.
said, yeah, it's like, well, I see where he's coming from, and that makes me sick because I don't want to see where fucking Lindsey Graham is coming from.
Ooh, I don't want to see where he's coming from either.
Mitch McConnell too. He's been very kind of anti-Putin too, not to that extent, but it's like when they're the voices of reason in that fucking party, in the in the 20s and in the 2020s. That's a fucking problem.
All right, I'm going to see if I can play this clip. This was something I saw on Instagram, and it was along the same lines dealing with gasoline. Mm-hmm. This reporter, I don't know if you saw the clip, but the reporter asked the vice president, how long should we, I got to read it because I got to read the little thumbnail here. It says, how long should we be bracing for this historic inflation and some unprecedented gas prices? And this was her response, if I can. Hold on.
She's pretty sharp.
Hold on.
There is a price to pay for democracy. Just stop you right there.
So this is the lady's response.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I do understand the price of freedom and democracy.
Oops.
As the wife of an Army combat veteran and the mother-in-law of an active duty airman. You're welcome for their service, by the way. They were happy to do it. I shouldn't be making life decisions at the gas station or the grocery store based on some bullshit that I didn't pick, because I damn sure didn't vote for y'all. I didn't pick this shit. No, ma'am. Write that down somewhere. I did not pick this shit.
So that's what it's all about. Anyway, so I wanted to kind of go back to what...
I thought it was the press secretary. That's what I thought.
No. I wanted to go back to kind of what Kamala Harris was talking about. And I think it had more to do with cutting off the price or cutting off Russian oil is what she was talking about. That's so yes, they expect gas prices to go up. That's why the president has done some things with releasing oil reserves and things like that to try to offset it. But yes, that's what she was talking about. There's a price for freedom, and that is okay if our gas prices go up 5 or 10 cents a gallon because of us blocking Russian oil, that's a price for freedom is what she was talking about. Not some fucking lady. What does your family serving in the fucking military have anything to do with gas prices?
Right. I don't know many family, I don't know anyone who doesn't have at least one family member who served at some point.
I've got multiple. I've got a lot of family members that serve.
We all do. And like I said, I don't know anyone who doesn't have at least one person in their family who has served in the U.S. military over the last 100 years.
But did you hear the part about her where she said, share my part with the 80 million that supposedly voted for Biden?
I missed
did I not make that far into the
maybe
video?
you didn't make it that far.
Yeah. She kind of, and it's like, just shut the fuck up.
Right.
Like,
well, because at that point you're literally just attacking the other side. As I pointed out in that, like I said, when that post, I said, the gas prices, the situation is essentially the same given the exact same circumstances, whether Biden is president or Trump is president. Yeah. And that, as far as I'm concerned, that's not a supportive thing towards Trump, but at least it's not blaming Trump.
No.
No,
but I think it's like when people share things, like you have just stop and think for a couple of minutes before you hit that fucking share button.
Yeah. I've been saying that for a long time.
Yeah, I know. But because what she was talking about in the video, like I said, had nothing to fucking do. It just you're sharing that because you think the vice president is saying
your freedom isn't free, so
yes,
we're making you pay for it.
Suck it up, and that's why gas is $4.25 a gallon. Which that's not what she was talking about.
And something tells me she's not making life decisions at the gas station or grocery store anyway.
No, probably not.
You know.
No, I probably not.
She didn't sound like she was. I didn't see her, but she didn't sound like she was food insecure.
No, she didn't look like she was food insecure either. So,
so I don't have to worry. I'm not worried about how she's worrying about it.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, "Come on, man!" It's like,
you know. But now, if you were to ask her if she would be willing to pay an extra 1% tax so that millions of children in this country weren't food insecure, she would blow a fucking gasket.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, people whose life could literally depend on a gas.
Then you're impacting her freedom.
Right.
Yes. Speaking of people's freedom.
Uh-oh.
I think I meant to talk about this last episode. There was an article I read on Facebook. It was from, I think it was from the Detroit News or Free Press, one of the two. Mm-hmm. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. It was all about how it says new vehicle safety feature could stop drunken drivers from taking the wheel.
Okay.
Basically, what it is they want to make cars to where they can. I don't think it's like where you have to blow into it because that's something different. But where it can detect if you're drunk driving your car, and like people are losing their shit on social.
The only thing
media.
I would ask is how.
And I was going to kind of scroll through it real quick. It says new cars sold in 2026 are expected to need a techno spy on board, checking whether the driver is too drunk to drive. Critics, including some fans of the magazine's Car and Driver and Road and Track. Oh, that's a long fucking name for a magazine. Car and Driver and Road and Track say that amounts to Big Brother spying on Americans. We can't idiot-proof this world, ranted one online naysayer. Enforcing laws already on the books should be enough, others said. But it doesn't say like how it goes about detecting whether or not you're drunk. But I don't know.
Because, I mean, if you accidentally swerve a little bit, is it going to say, oh, you're drunk and pull you over? I mean, because, let's face it, we've all swerved. We all swerve every time we fucking drive. You know, we probably shouldn't, but you reach for something or whatever, little stuff like that, to an outside observer who doesn't know that that was the only time you've done it. Oh my God, that guy looks drunk.
So all the industry is trying to do is look at a way to mitigate the risk that already involves because we see it. How many times do we see police bring people in for a legal blood draw at the hospital all the fucking time?
Right.
So it is an issue.
It is, absolutely.
So and I guess that's to your point. The big question is how are they going about with the technology?
Right. 'Cause that's the only thing that bothers me. I have no problem with having cars that won't start for a fucking drunk person.
Yeah,
I have no problem with that because I don't drink.
Because I know you can. So, it's under. It has to be under a legal order or order from a judge, but they can install breathalyzers in your car.
Right.
I don't think we'll ever get to the point where you're blowing into a tube to start your car up.
Right.
But I just thought it was.
But I mean,
what
is that really that bad of a thing though? Doing a breathalyzer to start your car?
No, I mean I don't have a problem with it because I don't get drunk and drive. So
that's my point. I don't either. So seems to me like I'm not. I get people not wanting to be micromanaged in their lives. I get that, and I would be opposed to any government that would want to try to micromanage our lives. But we're talking, how many people die from drunk driving accidents every fucking year?
Yeah.
And it's a preventable thing. It's a preventable thing because people need to be responsible. And if they're proving themselves not to be responsible, sometimes the government does have to step in.
Yeah. And I understand, some of the argument that people have is like, oh, well, that should be the job of the police to police that. But in those situations, police are reactive and not proactive.
Right. Because they can't be proactive.
They can't
otherwise
be proactive.
They'd have to have checkpoints at every fucking stop sign.
And those are illegal.
Exactly.
In most places.
I would rather have your car have a breathalyzer than have to stop at a checkpoint all the time.
Yeah.
You know, because to me, the checkpoint is a little bit more, I don't know, KGB-ish, if you ask me.
Well, like I said, in most jurisdictions, those kind of checkpoints are illegal.
Right.
So because they're
and when they are used, they're only used at like New Year's Eve and high drinking holidays.
Yeah.
4th of
So
July.
the police have to wait until you're swerving all over the road and for them to see you doing that.
Right.
Which
9 times out of 10, you've already hit somebody.
Because I'm going to tell you, man, I drive a lot between the hours of 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So after bars and stuff close, I don't see a lot of cops out.
No.
And I have seen my fair share of people that look pretty obviously fucking drunk
Right.
driving down the road.
Doing more than one swerve because they reach for their soda or something.
Yeah, but I will tell you, there's been a couple times that I've been driving home and I'll be, probably doing what I shouldn't be doing. I'll be like watching TV on my phone or playing on my phone or something while I'm driving, whatever. And
Whatever.
but I say that because I'm the only fucking car on the road.
Right.
Like I'm not driving in traffic doing something like that.
Right.
I would never do something like that. But there's been times where even if I'm like reaching down for something, reaching in my bag to get a drink out or whatever, and I'm talking water or pop. I'm not talking about anything illegal. But if I reach over, there's been a couple times I've like swerved on the highway. And I'm like,
and I know it's like
good thing they'll see me because those are the those are the times I would expect to get pulled over if you're swerving around. But
exactly.
But cop, like I said though, there's not a lot of cops out. At least I don't see a lot of cops that time of the morning. So you want to increase policing in those in the after say 1 o'clock in the morning. But how many times have you been out at triage at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock and have illegal blood draw come in?
Many times.
People are out drinking and driving in fucking rush hour traffic.
Right.
People.
I was gonna say they probably get them during the day.
Yeah. I've had them come in before.
Yeah.
We had a lady come in. This is a long time ago, but she had just started a job. Like she'd only been there for a couple of days. It might have been her first day, and she went out. She went to lunch, and I don't remember if she went to like a break room for a lunch or she went somewhere and came back. But like within like 20 minutes, she was like passed out. And like her boss brought her to the fucking hospital. I was like, because I was laughing. I was like, oh man, she's fired.
Yeah.
And so, people, that's always the thing is, there's always a joke about corporate lunch. You're out drinking and whatever.
Liquid lunch.
Liquid lunch. Yeah.
Well, those were the 60s when you could get away with it. We've evolved. I'm sorry. It's just, and to be fair, maybe people were more responsible back then. I don't know. I would have to see the statistics of alcohol-related accidents in the 60s.
Yeah.
But, back then you could get away. A lot of people were, back then people didn't, their work was probably right next to a bar.
Yeah.
They could walk there, and their drive home was 5 minutes or something, I think people, I hate to attribute more responsibility to boomers, but, it wouldn't even be boomers, really, it'd be the generation before that. So I guess that'd be all right. But, that was back when people smoked when they were pregnant and smoked in fucking, all day at work. And, movie theaters, you could barely see the light of the camera through the haze of smoke.
I'll tell you, when I was a kid, we used to go to the mall and you used to be
smoke in the mall. Yeah.
I've smoked in the mall before.
Me too. It was when I started smoking, it was just right before they stopped it. But I have literally smoked while walking through the mall.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't think this is going to be something that we're going to see get implemented just because the outrage in the comments on Facebook were fucking priceless.
Right. It's amazing how people, they don't give a shit about their freedom unless it affects something fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I have to tell my car I'm not drunk before it'll start for me. That's against my freedom.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. They carry their fucking phones with them all goddamn day, and it tells the government exactly what they're doing. They can tell them how many fucking times they've been on Pornhub that day.
I've said it on the show before, and I'll say it again, that there was a lawsuit several years back, is prior to 2014, where the head of Google at the time was involved in this lawsuit and testified in court. I said, if you actually read your user agreement with any Google product, it says in the Google, it says in the print in there that you have no right to privacy when using a Google product.
Mm-hmm.
Ian, I guarantee there's probably 6 different Google products on your phone right now, including the operating system.
Well, it's an Android system. Is that Google?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was Microsoft.
No, I guess it is Microsoft, isn't it?
It might be.
But,
I don't know. But
Gmail.
I use Gmail. I use Google Search. I use Google Maps.
Yep. They're
I use
tracking all
Google
that.
Chrome at work.
Yep. They're all that.
We have Google Docs at work.
Yes. You have no right to privacy with any of those products.
Right. Yeah, whatever.
So but that's what I'm saying, though. Is like people are like, oh, the government's going to be watching me. No, they already know everything about you.
Watching you right now.
They know everything about you already.
Yes, absolutely.
But I thought it was funny that I don't remember exactly what the comment said, but I was scrolling through. It was like hundreds of different fucking people just bitching and complaining about that. And then there was like the one guy who was like, yeah, I laugh at all the drunks in the comment threads because that's what he just said. Everyone that's bitching about, they're all just a bunch of drunks.
Right. Well, and not necessarily. It could just be people who are like, well, I don't drink and drive, but if I go to the bar or if I go bowling or something, I'm going to have a couple drinks. I'll be fine to drive, but now my car won't let me drive.
Guess what? That's called drinking and driving.
Right. Yeah. It's it's not, you're not supposed to do that. If you're going to go out, don't drive. If you know you're going to have something to drink.
What's the legal limit? Isn't it like
it's super low?
It's super low.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to depend, body weight and mass and all that stuff. But
absolutely.
In terms of what, because the percentage might be lower for, whatever it is, say it's like 0.02 or whatever. I think it might even be 0.02. But say it's 0.02. If you're a big guy, that might be 3 beers.
Yeah.
If you're a small person, it might be 1.
Yeah. That just made me think of something, though, when you were talking about that. You were talking. It made me think of this. There was a comment thread about Kid Rock a while ago on Facebook, and one of the comments in the thread said that I even screenshotted it. It said, "Kid Rock makes music for people who need to breathe into a tube to start their car."
Right.
Which I thought was fucking priceless.
I saw one about him the other day, and it said something about they don't understand why people are boycotting Kid Rock over his boycotting his music over his political views when they should just be boycotting his music because of his music or something, something to that effect. I was like, exactly.
It's another comment said that this wasn't as funny, but it says Kid Rock is the above ground swimming pool of music. But I
think most pools are above ground nowadays.
Yeah, and then this one, I love this one too. It says, Kid Rock makes music for people that know the exact legal amount of Sudafed you can buy from Walgreens.
I saw that one before too. That's so true.
It's fucking great. Oh man. But anyway, I don't know, man. What I was going to talk about the price of gas when going into the whole trucker convoy. The whole trucker convoy, aren't they using up a whole bunch of fucking gas also?
By sitting there, yeah. What are they even protesting anymore? It's done.
There's no mandates.
There's nothing. The pandemic's fucking over. Go home. Get back to work. Yeah. You lazy fucks. Jesus.
Isn't that the Republicans always say?
That's my point.
Just go get a job. So there's this article that came out this was just yesterday. It says, People's Convoy truckers keep thinking regular ass DC traffic is Antifa. Like, okay, Maybe people just don't know this out there, but there is no such thing as Antifa.
Right.
In the United States, there is in Europe. There is an Antifa organization in Europe.
Yeah, the place where fascism has actually been a problem in the past.
Yes. But here in the United States, there is no Antifa organization.
Right. No.
It's an ideology. I mean, Ian, are you for or against fascism?
I am 100%, and I'm going to say it here, and I don't care who hears it. I am 100% against fascism.
Because I am against fascism also.
Yeah.
So technically, that makes you Antifa.
I know.
So,
yeah, and it's funny because they scream, Joe Biden's a fascist, but we hate Antifa.
So what are you then? Are you alt middle on fascism?
I'm okay with Republican fascism. I'm just not okay with Democratic fascism.
Fascism is good, but some fascism, then a little bit too much is too much, and we can't have that much fascism.
Well, I mean, technically they're doing that because if you look at, say, Vladimir Putin specifically, and look at how he runs his country, he's kind of a fascist. He does some fascist things. He is, at least for right now, 21st century he is the epitome of what a fascist was in the 1930s.
Yeah.
And you've got fucking Republicans who are singing his praises.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting.
It is.
It's fucking disgusting. Because these are the same people who are like, Joe Biden's a fascist. I've heard them fucking say it. Well, seen them write it, I guess. I haven't heard them say it, but I don't really talk to these people. But
yeah, from what I was reading, Putin is more of an autocrat than a fascist. But.
Yeah, I mean that's true. And that's why I didn't call him a fascist. I mainly called him. I said he had fascist leanings and engaged in fascist behavior.
Yeah,
as we understand it from say late 1930s fascism.
Yeah.
So
I just it's funny. I saw a picture from this whole People's Convoy, I guess is what they're calling it now. But it was a big banner on the back of this truck that said FJB for fuck Joe Biden's mandate. And I'm like,
there is no
fucking mandate.
Right.
I mean, there is, because there is for hospital employees still.
Right. But that's within the hospitals.
It's federally
funded hospitals.
It's federally implemented.
For all hospitals or just federally funded hospitals?
For all hospitals that accept Medicare and Medicaid.
Which is pretty much all hospitals.
But
that's based on the fact that it gets federal funding.
Yeah, but that's not federal funding, but it's not, because you're not, I mean, you don't call an insurance policy funding, but
no, but
hospitals,
because it's paid for by the government is my point.
But it accepts government-run health care.
Right.
If it accepts government-run health care, then it has to abide by those standards.
Something tells me that even if that weren't the case, if that mandate were to go away, most hospitals would still probably have their own individual mask mandate.
I don't know, because there's a lot of bigger healthcare systems. Yeah, they would.
Right.
They would, and it's not mask mandate; it's vaccination mandate.
Is that what I thought right? I knew that the convoy is about the
vaccine mandate. Yeah,
but even that's not a mandate, is it? Unless your individual company requires you to have it.
No. The federal government requires, if you are a hospital that accepts.
No, I'm talking about the truckers.
What?
The vaccine mandate for the truckers. There's no mandate for them.
I don't believe there is,
because they're not federally funded.
No, but what it is because they engage in international traffic, international transport, that they have to be vaccinated, I guess.
Well, if Canada requires you to be vaccinated to cross into their border, that's Canada's right to do that.
Yeah, I believe we have the same requirement though.
Yeah. So,
because that's what Republicans were saying, we're requiring vaccination for truck drivers bringing in goods from other countries, but not all of the quote unquote illegals, because I hate that fucking term,
right,
coming across the border.
Well, I was under the impression that we were giving vaccines to those people we were catching at the border.
Yeah,
and I point out catching,
not the ones that were. No. I think the ones that are being caught and released into the country, I believe so.
Yeah.
But we're not vaccinating ones that we're catching and returning home.
Oh. I don't know why not. We're giving away free to everyone else.
Yeah, whatever. But
I wouldn't have no problem. I mean, tax dollars, I would rather my tax dollars be used to vaccinate somebody, even if we're sending them home.
Yeah.
Rather than,
What are you talking about, man? Vaccines don't work, Ian.
Shut the fuck up. I'm a perfect example of how fucking vaccines work, because I'm overweight. I don't eat right. I have addictions to nicotine and caffeine. I am a perfect specimen for getting COVID. And as far as I know, thank you, vaccine, I have never had COVID. You're healthier than I am, and you did get it, but you're vaccinated, so you didn't even barely feel it.
Nope. I had symptoms for 2 fucking days.
Right.
And I would classify my symptoms as very mild.
Right. So, yes. Anyone who tells me a vaccine doesn't work, I want to fucking punch them in their fucking face.
Because they're fucking stupid. Because that's just not right. It's it's just not true.
Right. It's not.
And there's tons. I was having this argument with somebody just a couple of weeks ago on Facebook, and Facebook is the fucking cesspool of the world.
Right.
But there was someone on there who was like, "Well, show me proof that masks work." I'm like, "Are you fucking serious?"
Well, here's another thing. We had a full-blown pandemic for over a year before I even got my first vaccine, and I didn't get fucking COVID, and neither did you.
Yeah, I know. But I was like,
and we were exposed on a daily fucking basis.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
But I found like 3 or 4 like scientific like research studies from reputable sources
And
that are all fact checked and
Peer reviewed.
reviewed. And, I found at least I think it was like 3 of them. I like pasted on there, and I was like, well, that was pretty fucking simple.
Right.
Of course, there's no fucking response.
Of course not.
Of course not.
Well, because they probably were like, "Oh, that's fake. It's fake."
I'm not reading all that.
Right.
That's
Well,
too long. Didn't read.
that is the common problem amongst most people is they read only like a very small portion of something, and then they take that and express that as
Yes.
wisdom, and it's not.
They
not.
They glean wisdom from a very small.
Right. A headline generally.
Yeah.
It's as much as that's for some people. That's as much as they're willing to read. But if you read the article and see what the actual things are saying,
Yeah.
the studies, the articles, everything, it would be completely obvious to someone with half a brain that they're wrong, and they're just not even going that far.
So it's kind of funny what Facebook does. And I'll kind of end it here because I don't want to run too long with all this. But Facebook, have you tried to share an article on Facebook? Like if you're scrolling and you try to share an article that someone else posted, if you try to share it without opening up and reading it first, there's a big fucking warning that comes across the screen before you share it.
Oh no, I don't share anything on Facebook
Because what I do is I've got a dummy account on Facebook that I use for like when we do Facebook Lives and things like that. It's like a test account.
Right.
So what I'll do is when I come across an article that I'm like, oh, I need to talk to you, or I want to talk to you about it, or talk about it on the show or whatever, I send that, like I share it to Messenger with my fake account.
Right.
So but I don't like click on the article to read it first.
Right.
If I just see it, I'll just send it over there and then I'll read it. And if I want to talk about it, I'll save it. If not, I'll just delete it. So that's why I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That it actually comes up with a warning. So it's not like I'm like on Facebook sharing shit that I don't read.
Right. It's funny because they
I just don't want people to think I actually do that.
I forgot what it was called, but they had started this thing. It was for right leading up to the election in 2020. Citizen protection something. I don't know. It was something like that. But it was the purpose of that was to filter through Facebook and try to limit the fake news, the lies, the false information, that stuff.
Yeah.
As soon as the election was over, they stopped that.
Oh yeah, because there's
no money.
There's no money in it.
Right. But there's money in allowing a lot of that bullshit to go.
Yeah.
And part of me wonders if they had kept that going, how much of the pandemic we might have avoided.
Probably not. I mean,
you don't think it would have mattered?
No, it wouldn't have mattered. As soon as Trump went up there and said that masks didn't work and he wasn't going to wear one and vaccines didn't work and
because
inject bleach in your body and stupid shit
even
like that.
Yeah, that was all before the election though. That was leading up to the election.
I guess
about
that's
after.
true. But what I'm saying though is like as soon as he went up there and said all that, it was over.
But what about vaccine? The vaccine stuff.
40% of this country you're never going to fucking convince.
Oh, I know.
After he said that. Oh, fuck, he went up on the stage talking about getting his booster shot, and he was fucking booed by his own people.
Right.
Because he got a booster.
Like, boo, we hate you, but we still love you.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I know. But I don't know. I didn't want to. There was a couple other things I want to talk about, but I don't want it to carry on too long.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add there, Ian?
No.
No,
I changed my mind. I'm all for fascism.
You're no longer an anti-fascist.
I'm no longer Antifa. I just want fascism. I want the government to tell me what to do. I want it all controlled by them. And if I say anything wrong, I want them to execute me in a public square.
Well, I mean that might be a good thing.
I'm going to send a petition to the government right now.
All right. Well, if you want, after you're done sending a petition, if you feel like contacting us at Life in Journal, you can email us at lifeinjournalpod@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook, and that's about it. It was a very odd ending to the show there, Ian, but thanks a lot.
I just want to be executed in a public square, Dick. I'm not asking for so much, for much. Just my dying wish.
All right. Well, until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Playing my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, old lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the ring. Got you two GoPros, you wanna hang. Shoulder to shoulder, the niggas basic. You know I won't lie. You know that I ain't for that fuck shit. You niggas alright, but I'm way better and she love it. Know that y'all sick as fuck. Here go this tissue, bruh. We taking the dub, hoping you get you some. This hit like a pick me up. She taking my drugs. Know they see the sign. That's some dollar signs. Know they sick as fuck. Know they sick as fuck. Tell them get well soon. Tell them get well soon. Know you sick as fuck. Get well soon.
Oh shit. Watch out, you the god, Billy. Oh shit. Right now, and I'm smiling in your face, bitch. With a gold smile, you should probably make placement. To your eye, niggas sick as fuck. Standing with niggas who down for that party. Who down for some bitches who showing their bodies. Swear to God, nigga, this